Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talk Talk Speak podcast today. We're doing a deep dive into something that's, well, changing basically everything, artificial intelligence. And we're going to navigate this using the latest thinking from someone often called the queen of the internet, Mary Meeker. Specifically, we're digging into her brand new, very anticipated Trends Artificial Intelligence report from June 2025.
That's right. You know, her reports, they've always been seen as essential reading. They really just cut through the noise with solid, data-driven analysis. And this latest one, it's not just an update. It's really her take on AI as the core driver of, well, everything happening in tech right now. So our mission today, really, is to unpack this thing, pull out the key findings, and figure out what it all means for you.
Yeah, and the big headline, the thing that jumps right out, is just the sheer speed and the scope of AI development. She uses the word unprecedented over and over again.
Over 50 times, actually.
Right. And we're going to look at the data she uses to back that claim up because it really shows how fast the ground is shifting.
And to really get why that word unprecedented carries so much weight, it helps understand where Mary Meeker is coming from, her background.
Absolutely. Yeah, this isn't just, some random commentator.
Right.
Her career path has put her right at the center of tech waves for decades. Started on Wall Street, Morgan Stanley, and she's basically credited with creating the blueprint for these big internet trends reports. Back in the dot-com days, that report was like the document, the Bible, people called it.
Oh, definitely. No exaggeration there. Her early work covered companies that are now, well, giants: Google, Amazon, Microsoft. Morgan Stanley even led the Google IPO while she was there. Her skill is taking just mountains of data and pulling out these really sharp insights. Fortune magazine said years ago her reports were stuffed with 1 million jumping off points. That still feels right.
And what I find fascinating is her background. Psychology first, then an MBA in finance.
Yeah.
That combination feels key. It's not just the numbers, it's the human element, too. How people actually use this stuff.
Exactly. That psych background probably gave her a real edge in understanding user behavior, how tech gets adopted. It likely helped her spot trends, like, the shift to mobile way before others did. And you can see that thinking in this AI report, looking at why something like ChatGPT just exploded seemingly overnight.
Right. So after shaping how Wall Street saw tech, she moved into venture capital, first at Kleiner Perkins, a huge name, and then she co-founded her own firm, Bond D Capital.
Yep. At Kleiner Perkins, she co-led a big digital growth fund, then took all that experience to launch Bond D. She's a founding general partner there now, investing serious money in the next generation of tech.
And the companies she's backed over the years, through Kleiner and Bondi, it's a list of game changers. Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, Airbnb, Square, now Block, Canva, Plaid.
Yeah.
She clearly knows how to spot companies that don't just compete, they fundamentally change the market.
Totally. Her investment record kind of proves out her trend analysis, doesn't it? She's not just observing. She's actively building the future she reports on. That whole history from the early internet through mobile, now AI.
Yeah.
It just gives this report enormous credibility.
Okay, so let's get into the report itself. This 2025 AI report, you said unprecedented, shows up like 50 plus times. What makes this AI wave so different from, say, the early internet or the mobile revolution?
The main thing, according to Meeker, is the speed and the sheer breadth of it. See, AI isn't starting from scratch. It's piggybacking on everything we've already built. The global internet, cloud computing, smartphones everywhere. She calls AI a compounder on internet infrastructure.
A compound. Okay, so it's like adding fuel to an already massive fire.
Yeah, kind of. Because that digital foundation is already there, globally, AI services can get adopted incredibly fast. Wicked fast adoption, she called it. Changes just happen much quicker and spread much wider than before. And the prime example she uses, ChatGPT.
Right, the poster child.
Absolutely. The numbers in the report are just staggering. ChatGPT hit 100 million users in less than 3 months.
3 months.
Think about that. Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube. These huge platforms took 2 to 4 years to reach that same number.
Years versus months. Wow, that really puts the speed in perspective.
And it kept going. By April 2025, the report says ChatGPT had 800 million weekly active users, handling over 365 billion search requests a year. But here's another unprecedented angle. Geography. The early internet was very US-focused at first, then it spread, these AI chatbots. They saw huge global adoption almost instantly, all at the same time.
So it wasn't like a slow rollout country by country. It just exploded everywhere.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And Meeker's predicting AI platforms could reach half of all US households in just 3 years. Compare that. Mobile internet took 6 years to hit that mark. Desktop internet took 12.
3 years versus 6 or 12. So for you listening, what this speed means is the timeline for getting up to speed yourself is radically compressed. This isn't some 10-year transition. It's happening now, very quickly. Staying informed isn't just nice, it's becoming essential.
And all this rapid change needs massive investment in the underlying tech. The report talks about this intense infrastructure race. Meeker actually compares it to the Cold War space race. It's this global scramble to build the foundations for the next wave of AI.
What kind of infrastructure are we talking about here? Is it just bigger data centers?
It's more than that. It's advanced chips like GPUs, obviously, but also building systems for what she calls agentic interfaces, AIs that can act independently, plus sophisticated enterprise co-pilots for businesses and even sovereign models.
Sovereign models, like for nations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
AI systems developed by specific countries for their own use and control. All of this stuff requires huge foundational bets, billions of dollars.
Let's talk about those dollars. The economics she lays out are really interesting, kind of contradictory almost. Building these models is incredibly expensive.
Off the charts expensive.
Yeah.
Training a top-tier model can cost up to $1 billion. That's based on Stanford research she cites. That's a massive hurdle for anyone who isn't a tech giant or heavily funded.
Right, but then the cost of actually using the models once they're trained, that's going down.
Plummeting, yeah. Meeker highlights that inference costs, the cost per calculation, basically have dropped 99% in just 2 years. It's driven by amazing gains in chip efficiency. She mentions NVIDIA's Blackwell GPU from 2024 uses way less energy per calculation than their chips from 2014. And you've got specialized hardware, too, like Google's TPUs, Amazon's Trainium. They're making running AI much cheaper.
So it's this weird equation, unbelievably costly to build, but getting super cheap to run.
Which creates this really unique commercialization puzzle. Even with all those users flocking in, Meeker points out that making money is proving tough. The median revenue per user for these AI platforms is still pretty low, around $23.
$23 per user. Doesn't sound like it pays back $1 billion training cost very quickly.
No, it really doesn't. The report basically describes the whole sector as being in a cash-burning phase right now. Huge investments are pouring in, but profits still elusive for many. Meeker puts it bluntly. Only time will tell which side of the money-making equation the current AI aspirants will land.
Wow, that's a stark quote. So for you using these tools every day, what does this cash burning mean? It suggests a lot of the services you might rely on are running on investor hope, not actual profits yet. That could mean business models change fast, maybe some companies merge, or, some might not make it if they don't find a way to make money soon.
Yeah, that tension, the cost versus revenue one, is part of a bigger split Meeker really dives into. Yeah. The divide between open source and closed AI models.
Yeah, this felt like a really critical part of the report. Can you break down that difference for us?
Sure. So on one side, you have closed models. Think GPT-4 from OpenAI or Claude from Anthropic. These are proprietary, developed, owned, controlled by one company. They often have the highest performance. They're popular with big businesses looking for reliability, support, but they're less transparent, kind of a black box you don't see inside. And the vendor controls everything. They dominate the consumer market right now.
Okay, so like traditional software. You buy it, you use it, but you don't get the source code.
Exactly. Then the other side is open source models, things like Meta's Llama, Mistral's Mixtral, or models from China like Qwen, Ernie. Here, the underlying tech is often public. Anyone could look at it, change it, build on it. Meeker uses this great phrase, calls the open source scene the garage lab of the modern tech era. Fast, messy, global, and fiercely collaborative.
Garage lab, I like that. Suggests rapid innovation, lots of different people tinkering.
Precisely. And these open models are fueling innovation everywhere. Customizing AI for specific jobs, adding local languages, enabling those sovereign AI projects we mentioned, where governments or groups can build AI suited to their own data and needs without relying on a big U.S. tech company, for example.
And the report suggests this isn't just a technical choice, it's almost philosophical.
Very much so. Meeker draws this contrast, freedom versus control, speed versus safety, openness versus optimization. It's not just about how the AI works, it's about who gets to wield it. Open source spreads the power out, enables faster global experimentation. Closed models keep control centralized, maybe allowing for more cautious development, but less transparency.
So when you, the listener, are using an AI tool, it's actually worth asking, is this built on a closed model where I can't see the workings? Or is it open source, maybe more flexible or transparent, but perhaps less polished? It has real implications.
Absolutely. And this whole open versus closed thing isn't just happening in labs. It's playing out globally, tied deeply into geopolitics. That's another big theme.
Right. How does geopolitics get tangled up with AI development?
Well, AI isn't being built in a bubble, right? It's part of this global race for tech leadership, for influence. And Meeker's report really highlights China's progress and strategy, especially in the open source space.
China focusing on open source, that might seem counterintuitive to some people.
Maybe, but the report lays out the evidence. Chinese models like Alibaba's Qwen 2.5 or ByteDance's CodeFuse are now seen as comparable to top Western models, often cheaper to develop, too. And get this, in Q2 2025, China actually led the world in the number of major open source AI models released. Names like DeepSeek R1, Qwen 32B, Ernie 4.5.
Wow. Okay, so that's a clear strategic move. It's not just about building their own closed systems, but also about influencing the global ecosystem through open source contributions.
Seems that way. The report also points to India's crucial role, not just as a developer, but as a massive user base. India has the highest share of ChatGPT mobile users worldwide, 13.5%, and they're the third biggest users of China's DeepSeek model.
So India is this huge critical market for actually popularizing and finding commercial uses for these AI tools.
Exactly. Meeker also briefly touches on the importance of immigrants to the U.S. tech scene, reminding us that talent flow is another key factor in this global competition. So when you put it together with the rise of open source, China's strategic moves, huge user markets like India, it suggests the global AI landscape is getting more complex, more multipolar. It's not just a simple U.S. versus China race anymore.
Okay, so we've got this picture. Unprecedented speed, huge infrastructure costs with tricky economics, this split between open and closed models, all playing out amid global competition. How is this actually affecting the world day to day?
Well, Meeker stresses AI is a general-purpose technology, meaning it's not just one industry. It transforms all existing technologies and industries. Its impact is everywhere. It's moving beyond just software into the physical world. Self-driving cars, smarter factories, faster medical diagnosis, you name it.
And the question everyone asks, what about jobs? What's the take in the report?
It generally frames AI as a co-pilot rather than a wholesale replacement, at least for many professional roles. It's a tool boosting efficiency for programmers, writers, analysts, designers, knowledge workers, and the demand for AI skills is just exploding. AI-related job postings are up 448% since 2018.
448%. Okay,
Yeah.
so that signals a huge shift in what the market needs. The challenge is less about jobs vanishing overnight and more about needing new skills fast.
Exactly. Which puts enormous pressure on education, on training programs, reskilling, lifelong learning. They're not just buzzwords anymore, they're basically requirements now.
With all this rapid change, what are the big risks Meeker points to, the major challenges?
She's very clear on the dangers. Things like AI models hallucinating, making stuff up, embedded biases leading to unfair results, the potential for spreading misinformation at scale, and just the basic fact that regulations are way behind the tech. She explicitly calls for clear rules, honest leadership, and smarter systems to manage these risks.
And she connects this back to the geopolitics.
Yeah, she notes this is all happening while global powers more openly asserting autocracy versus democracy agendas. That mix of powerful tech and political tension just adds layers of complexity to governing AI, deploying it safely, and stopping misuse.
That speed versus safety tension seems really central here, especially with the open source garage lab dynamic.
It really is. Open source is amazing for innovation and access, but it can mean powerful tools get out quickly, maybe before all the safety checks are done. That could lead to accidents, or a backlash that hurts development, or maybe governments overreacting with rigid rules. And then there's that ongoing commercialization lag, the gap between users loving the tech and companies actually making sustainable money from it. That financial pressure creates its own instability.
So, wrapping this all up, what are the key strategic takeaways from Meeker's analysis for different groups, let's say for businesses?
For businesses, the message is stark. Get on board. Use AI as a co-pilot. But don't just buy tools. Re-engineer how you work. Make smart choices about open versus closed tech. Build new AI-native products. And crucially, invest in making your whole workforce AI literate.
Okay. And for investors trying to navigate this?
High risk, high potential reward. They need to look past just user numbers to find sustainable business models. Keep funding the core infrastructure. Look for how AI can boost companies in every sector. and pay very close attention to global markets and those geopolitical factors.
And finally, for policymakers, the governments.
Their big job is that balancing act. Encourage innovation, but ensure safety. Manage the speed versus safety dilemma. That means clear rules for the risks, bias, misinformation, but also creating policies that attract and nurture AI talent. More focus on education and skills. Meeker's final thought really sums it all up. It's game time for AI, and it's only getting more intense. And the genie's not going back in the bottle.
The genie is not going back in the bottle. That really lands, doesn't it? This isn't just another tech trend. It's fundamental. We are definitely in AI's game time. So here's something I'll leave you with. We've talked about AI's incredible speed, how it's compounding change across every field, the dynamics of open versus closed, the global competition. Knowing all this, how does it change how you think about your own future, your career, the skills you need, even just the tech you choose to use every day? What steps could you take now to stay ahead or at least keep pace in this intensifying game time for AI? Thank you for joining us. See you next time.
Yeah, we really hope this deep dive into Mary Meeker's latest thinking has helped give you a clearer map of the AI landscape. Certainly a lot to think about.